you know I'll be there in a hurry. Out of the cold into my warm head in the sun. It's already begun. You are my one. We just dance, find romance, a second chance. We don't need to worry at all. In the sun, it's already begun. You are my one. With a simple mind, we should find some more time. We don't need to worry at all. It's already begun. You are my one. We just dance, find romance, a second chance. We don't need to worry at all. So you thought you got it made for easy living, slipping out the back door. But it's not what you're made for, and there's nothing that is too late for. Out of the cold into my warm head in the sun. It's already begun. You are my one. With a simple mind, we should find some more time. We don't need to worry at all. Everybody could make a wrong turn. You waver and slip and you get burned. But I'm here, so don't you worry, 'cause you know I'll be there in a hurry. Out of the cold into my warm head in the sun. It's already begun. You are my one. We just dance, find romance, a second chance. We don't need to worry at all. In the sun, it's already begun.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 9th grade and new student orientation night. We are so happy to have so many families of our new students and our incoming ninth graders with us this evening. My name is Joel Thompson, and I am the principal here at the high school. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and administration, I'd like to welcome you to the 2024-2025 school year. We cannot wait to get the year started and once again connect with our outstanding, talented, and thoughtful students. Tonight's presentation is intended to provide families and students with an overview of our building operations, processes, and opportunities. We have a number of our dedicated administrators and faculty members here tonight to speak all about what the high school has to offer your child. We hope that this presentation answers many of your questions, but please know that every member of the high school faculty and staff will continue to be available throughout the years to support your child and your family. After hearing this presentation, and as you exit the auditorium, I sincerely hope that you know that we care deeply for your children, their safety, and their development. Although we have almost 1,800 students in our building, it is our mission to support and provide the best education possible for each and every student. While your child's social and emotional well-being and academics are of the highest priority, so too is their safety. Please know that we have many procedures and processes in place to ensure a locked and secure high school facility. We will work throughout the year to practice appropriate responses to potential situations and routinely check that our safety measures are implemented with fidelity. I also hope that you see this as the beginning of a partnership between the high school, your student, and your family. A child's high school years are extremely formative in their overall development towards adulthood. There will undoubtedly be moments of great challenge for your children, moments when they are struggling to overcome an obstacle or obtain a goal. There will be moments when they fail. While it is understandable to want to do everything to protect your children from those experiences, we know that through these moments, we can have the greatest opportunities for growth in character and ability. We also know that those gains do not happen unless a child has a supportive team around them, encouraging them along the way and providing alternative strategies to support success. We look forward to using our experience and our expertise to partner with you to form that team. I am confident that by working together, your child will look back on their high school years as positive years that prepared them to achieve their individual goals into the future. At this time, I would like to welcome our Unit 1 principal, Dr. Teresa Mitchell, to the podium to MC the event. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome. We are delighted that you are joining us. One of our goals this evening is to assist you, our families, in supporting ninth graders in their growing independence and their understanding of their role as our Blue Devils. This evening's speakers will share information about the high school program, the school day, the student parent handbook, school email, visiting the high school, lockers, and 2 of many programs, global studies and STEM. We began our day with Link Crew orientation, and we spent the morning with the class of 2028. You will hear more about Link Crew this evening and throughout the first semester. I have to say, the ninth graders were quite joyful, and within the first hour, they felt quite comfortable being in the high school. The faculty and staff, we look forward to getting We look forward to getting to know them. We look forward to seeing them blossom as young adults. And we look forward to their great questions and their fantastic answers. Notice on the slides you will see two entrances, B9 and C20. All visitors to the high school, whether it be parents, members of the community, or guest speakers who are joining our classes, must have an ID to enter the building. And everyone must check in with one of our administrative assistants in one of our two entrances that you see on the slides. Please know that this level of security is district-wide. We realize that there are times where you need to drop off materials to your students, and in those instances, we ask that you use the entrance C20. As tempting as it is to purchase your students' favorite smoothie, their favorite lunch, we are asking that you not leave or deliver food items at C20 or, of course, B9. We have a fabulous chef and we have a cafeteria. Of course, we know that it is formerly called Center Court that provides our students with a wealth of options. In addition to academics, one of the most important things is safety, which you, of course, heard from Dr. Thompson. For this reason, please know that all entrances to the building are locked at 8:10. When students arrive, doors are all monitored, and when students arrive after 8:10, they will have to buzz to enter the building, and they will enter through C20. If students have a concern about safety or security at the high school complex, we encourage them to speak to a unit principal, and please note that they can also speak with our SRO in the building. Our building opens at 7:15. We do realize that we have a number of students who are in extracurricular activities who arrive earlier with the permission of teachers, but in standard cases, it is 7:15. Students who arrive between 7:15 and 7:45 must report to Center Court. We have breakfast available for them, and students may enter through 3 entrances: B9, C20, and the athletic building, AA7. Breakfast is served beginning at 7:15. Students may eat in Center Court only. We have desks, we have chairs, we have wonderful places for students to dine in Center Court. We are asking that students not rearrange the furniture in Center Court. We are also asking that they please pick up after themselves after they have breakfast. Further procedures about Center Court and dining and the lunch periods will be discussed a little bit later. A bell rings at 7:45, alerting students that it is time for them to start moving throughout the building. If your student has the privilege of having a homeroom on the 6th floor, I assure you they will get their exercise for the day because it is a bit of a hike to get to the 6th floor. But you will find that your student will be able to enter C20 and get to the 6th floor in under 6 minutes. They will be able to do it, I assure you. If students arrive after 8:10, it does mean that they will check in with the attendance clerk. We will talk a little bit more about attendance later, but just know that homeroom teachers, that is where they start their day. So please make sure that your students check in, and if they don't check in, their homeroom teachers will be concerned. In order to build meaningful relationships with the student's homeroom teacher, the student's counselor, and unit principal, your student must be here. We have to have students here. So 8 o'clock means you are essentially, if you are not sitting in the classroom as a student, your student is late. So we need to make sure that they're on time. Please know that there are times we realize that when students are a minute or two late, and that's where we need your help, because we are happy for you to write your students an excuse if necessary, if we need it. So between 8 and 8:10, if your student arrives during that time period, they are considered tardy, and we will expect families to provide us with a note which can be submitted through Dashboard. You may also, if you need to, write a note and provide it to the student to give to their homeroom teacher. I mentioned lunch and center court earlier. We have on any given day approximately 600 students joining us for lunch. There are a number of options for lunch, and what we pride ourselves on is the fact that our students have an entire period for lunch. So this means 46 minutes for them to have lunch, talk to friends, meet with teachers if they need to during part of that time period, just unwind and be a student. So gone are the days of them rushing through lunch in 20 minutes and running to their next class. They have time to relax and enjoy. If your student prefers a quieter lunch environment, we do have quiet lunch available. So please know that is always an option for our students. For our seniors, we have special seating in the balcony, and at some point, your student too will be able to, when they're a senior, eat in that special area. But just know that when students have finished their lunch and want to work on other projects, they can meet with teachers. They also can go to the library, but they do have to scan the QR code, and they have to make sure that they finish their lunch first. At this time, I would like to introduce our Unit 2 principal, Ms. Hannah Mintzmoyer, and she's going to talk to you about the other fantastic parts of the day that our students will be a part of for the rest of the year. Ms. Mintzmoyer?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah Mintzmoyer, and I am the Unit 3 principal. So I primarily work with students towards the end of the alphabet. I'm going to talk just for a minute here about attendance, which is incredibly important for our students and for our teachers to be able to teach our students. We need them here. Regular school attendance affords your student the opportunity to create amazing relationships with their homeroom teacher, all of their teachers, their friends, and others. Also, it's required by law. So we are going to take a minute and review some of the policies that you will find in the handbook related to attendance. A few major things to be aware of. Attendance is live in PowerSchool, so as teachers submit attendance period by period, you can see that via the PowerSchool app or the PowerSchool web platform. If you see NIC in PowerSchool, that means not in class. That's what NIC stands for. If you see an NIC, don't panic. Give it a little bit of time. A lot of our students go and see a counselor, they go to the writing lab, and that attendance then gets changed at the destination where they're going. If you still see an NIC at the end of the day, maybe in like a single period and maybe it's study hall, maybe ask your child where they were during that period. At the 5th and 10th absence, and that's unexcused and excused absences combined, a notice letter will be mailed to the family. This letter is just informational, so you know how many days your student has missed, and again, to encourage our students to get into the building as much as possible. At 6 unexcused absences, an attendance improvement meeting may be scheduled with a unit principal, the school counselor, and other support services. If additional absences are accumulated after an attendance improvement meeting has been held, there is a chance that a citation will be filed at the local magistrate for truancy. So please pay attention to that 6 unexcused absence number. If 10 or more classes are missed during a semester, then a student may lose credit for that course. So 10 is another important number. It's also important to note that parents or guardians are only permitted to excuse their child for 10 days in a school year. This counts pre-approved absences for educational trips or college visits, but it does not include school trips. This means that it's really important to submit medical notes from a medical provider if your student has a doctor's appointment or something, so that those days, or if they have an extended illness, so those days do not count towards your 10 parental excused days. If and when a student gets close to the 10 excused absence threshold, someone will reach out to discuss attendance with the family. New last year and continuing this year, families should submit excuses via the Form Center in Dashboard. This applies to tardies, early dismissals, and entire days of absence or multiple days of absence. It is also still acceptable to write a note and submit it to the child's homeroom teacher, but emails to the homeroom teacher will not be accepted. You will be instead directed to complete the form in PowerSchool. Pre-approved absences, like for educational travel or college visits, can be located on the high school website and are not to be submitted through the PowerSchool dashboard. Also, a note, if you are trying to submit a doctor's note or some sort of medical documentation through PowerSchool, there is an upload feature, so you can snap a picture with your phone and you are able to upload a picture of that note to submit that documentation. If you are unable to access your PowerSchool parent or guardian account, you should reach out to Mrs. Dana Martin in the principal's office. General questions or concerns about attendance should be directed to your child's unit principal. Okay, we're getting into the really fun stuff, school board policies, so bear with me, everybody. I encourage you to sit down sometime over the next not even week or so before school starts, and actually review both the student handbook and some of the board policies. There's some really important information in there that all students should be aware of, and I am gonna just review a couple of those policies here with you now. First, student smoking use and or possession of tobacco and e-cigarettes. Tobacco and or e-cigarette use or possession by students is prohibited on school grounds, in school buildings, on district vehicles, and at district-sponsored events held off school premise. Here, I would like to highlight that possession of a vaping device, whether or not a student is seen actually using it, falls under this policy. The result of a violation of this policy would be an out-of-school suspension and a citation at the local magistrate. Student drug and alcohol offenses. Students are prohibited from distributing, dispensing, possessing, using, or being under the influence of any alcoholic beverage, or unlawfully manufacturing, distributing, possessing, or using, or being under the influence of any narcotic drug or any other controlled substance, either before, during, or after school hours, in any school building, or on any school premise, on district vehicles, and at district-sponsored events held off school premises. If a student is in school while under the influence, even if they do not have any drugs or alcohol in their possession, they are in violation of this policy. The result of violating this policy would be a 10-day out-of-school suspension, a citation from local law enforcement, and after the suspension, there will also be a 30-day restriction from all student activities, which includes athletics, bands, and any clubs. Possession of weapons. Possession of a weapon by students, employees, or visitors is prohibited. On any Mount Lebanon School District property, in any vehicle located at any time on district property, or at any district-sponsored activity, function, or event. This is especially important. I know we have a lot of 9th grade parents in here, but for any students that would drive and park their car on campus. Also by any student on their way to or from school, or in any conveyance providing transportation to a district property or to a district-sponsored activity, function, or event. Weapons are strictly prohibited. This includes, but is not limited to, knives, razor blades, mace, tasers, explosives, and of course any firearms or guns. The term weapon, for the purposes of this policy, shall also include weapon lookalikes, including any instrument or implement designed to look like a weapon. Please always check students' car, backpack, hoodies, anything that they are bringing to school to ensure that they're not bringing something on school grounds accidentally. Anti-bullying policy. The school district does not tolerate bullying. Bullying is defined as an intentional, electronic, written, verbal, or physical act or series of acts, whether in the school setting or outside the school setting, that are directed at another student or students, are severe, persistent, or pervasive, and have the effect of doing any one or more of the following: substantially interfering with a student's education, creating a threatening environment, and/or substantially disrupting the orderly operation of the school. Bullying, as defined in this policy, also includes cyberbullying. I would take a moment before school starts and talk with your students about social media use and how this policy applies. Students should report any bullying to a faculty member or administrator immediately. Please be aware that there is also a district-wide bullying report form that can be found on the district website. You can navigate to the MTLSD high school page, scroll down to the links section, click on bullying reporting, and complete the Google form. This entry in the Google form will then be shared with the appropriate administrator district-wide. Hazing policy. Hazing, for the purposes of this policy, is defined as any activity or conduct, whether physical, verbal, or electronically communicated, that recklessly or intentionally endangers the mental health, physical health, or safety of a student for the purpose of initiation or admission into, or affiliation with, or as a condition for continued membership in any district organization. The district prohibits any form of hazing in connection with any district organization, on any school premise, in any school vehicles, or at any school-related event. Students should report any hazing to an administrator immediately. Lastly, I'll remind you that there is a detailed dress code outlined in the parent and student handbook, and we encourage you to review it with your child before school starts. All of this information will be shared and reviewed with all students in the first 5 days of school at the grade level assemblies, and they will also be reviewing the handbook in their homerooms, so all of these topics will be covered again with all of the students. Okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit here on you now, and we're going to shift into the technology realm. So Mount Lebanon School District is a bring your own technology district. So what that means is that students can bring their own device from home and connect to our internet and use it for their classes. While in class, students can only use their devices under the direction of the teacher and if the teacher requests that they use their device for a class activity. In between classes, during lunch or during study hall, students can have their phones and they can have access to technology. They can text, listen to music with headphones, and use whatever technology they feel is appropriate as long as it is in a school-appropriate way. Should you want or require a school-issued Chromebook if you do not have a device to bring to school, or if you want to borrow a Chromebook, our next speaker will talk you through that process. So at this time, please join me in welcoming our Director of Technology, Mr. Chris Stengel. Oh, I didn't know that was coming.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Who's excited for high school? Yeah, I was here 5 years ago out there, graduated him last year. I have a senior this year. And I know what it can be like to sit out in those seats and hear a lot coming at you, and certainly King Nerd here could really fill your heads with stuff. But my takeaway message that I want to talk you through real quick is when you forget all the stuff that you seem to maybe remember I might have said, where do you go to find it? And the simple answer is the district website. So I'm going to step you through a couple things, and if you forget it, it's okay. And I'll also, at the very end, let you know how to reach me. So, let's get started. Everybody fired up? Yeah, let's do it. All right. This is the top of the district website. And there are two things here. One for students, which I put first because it's less interesting. It's mostly a collection of help documents. However, some of them are pretty good. So, particularly connect to MTLSD Wi-Fi, how to add school calendars to your Google Calendar. So no more fretting about what day is it. It's day 3. You know that? You can look at your Google Calendar because the help document is right there under students. These have been assembled over years from frequency of communications and questions. So if you or your student wishes there were something out there that's not out there, let me know. Constantly growing. Psyched. Okay. The families part, that's the one I like the most because we put a lot of time and effort into this. There's a lot of really good stuff. So families, if you click it, the second link down is technology resources. And there are 8 things. I'm not going to go through all of them. Dr. Thompson only gave me a half hour for this part of the talk. 25 minutes. All right. But I'm not going to talk about one-to-one because that's next. Power School activity calendars, they have login links. Schoology has a collection of help classes and videos. Communications are some archives of old communications we've sent out. Google for Education is a lot of googly things. Internet at home. If you are looking for ways to bring internet into your home, whether it be regular cost or low cost, we've curated some resources for you there. Policies and procedures, the rules about tech in school. And then safety, if you're looking for some curated resources for online safety. Okay. I didn't talk about one-to-one because it's the whole rest of my talk. So the one-to-one logo has 3 important parts in it. The first section is if you want to borrow a district-owned Chromebook for your student, there is a big gray button called Secondary Student Equipment Request Form. It's not very catchy. And it doesn't even spell anything out. There's an acronym, but I'm working on it. So if you click that, you'll go to a form. That's how you can request a Chromebook. You get communications at that point. Your Chromebook's ready. It can be picked up by you or your student in the front office with Mrs. Martin. The second part of the one-to-one page talks about notifying us that something might be wrong with your student's district-owned device. It got damaged. It's not turning on. These things happen. So the second button is to tell us about it. It's a form. Once you submit the form, there'll be a whole string of communications. Some of the things that you may report could possibly include damage to the device. So I just want to take a moment to remind everyone that families are responsible for all damages to district-owned devices, whether they take place here at school or at home. And you might say, how much could that cost? And I could say, you don't even want to know how much that could cost. Mostly because of the third part, the Equipment Protection Plan. It, for $50, covers your student's district-owned device against any and all accidental damages, including being driven over by a car. So best $50, I would say, could be spent. The way you enroll is the third part of the one-to-one page. Little enroll button. Anyone know when enrollment ends? Who said October 1st? Free iPad. See me after the thing. Nicely done. Pays to participate, everybody. Just letting you know. Okay, so that was a lot I threw at you. Now comes the contacts. So we have 3 email addresses that I'm proud of because they go to whole support teams. We have a remote support at mtlsd.net. That's for your students' district-owned device, questions about connectivity, working from home, etc., with a district-owned device. We have dashboard support, anything with Power School, dashboard, can't log into your account, thought you knew your password, need your password to reset, dashboard support at mtlsd.net. Schoology support at mtlsd.net. I'd ask if anybody would guess, but I'm all out of iPads, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory. So the fourth one is over there in the yellow. That's me. cstengel at mtlsd.net. Feel free to send me questions, queries, prompts, kudos, etc. I accept all. So with that, It is my pleasure to introduce Lebo Got Talent's own second runner-up in the karaoke competition from the counseling department, our very own Mrs. Saba.
Remember the movie The Wizard of Oz? And like they spend all this time trying to get to see the Wizard of Oz, and they finally get there, and it's really scary, right? There's all this noise, and they're like scared, and then finally they pull back the curtain, and it's just this guy. Does that remind you of anybody? I don't know. It's been many, many years of wonderful introductions that I've had from Mr. Stengel. And his kid's not going to graduate. No, I'm just kidding. No, really, I'm kidding. Okay, so I'm Mrs. Saba. I am one of 7 counselors here at the high school. And real quickly, I will put on my other hat and just talk for 30 seconds about Link Crew. We had a whole lot of fun this morning with your freshmen. A sea of red. If you didn't know, the class of 2028 class color is red. Each class that comes in gets a color, and their color was red, and the link leaders called them and told them to wear red, and many of them did, and it was really great to see all of them wearing red, and then our link leaders with their link leader shirts on, and they were a great group. Hopefully they had a lot of fun, and you heard a lot of positives with them coming home. Our next big event will be on Thursday, the 29th. That will be Link Night. And that will be our first social event of the year. We do 3 big social events with the 9th grade class. Link Night is really just, again, a social event over in the athletic building. We kind of take over all 3 gymnasiums. We have a dodgeball tournament where the winning homeroom earns free homecoming tickets for the entire homeroom and the link leaders. We set up a huge inflatable obstacle course in one of the gyms, and then the other gym we have volleyball, cornhole, basketball, just games that they can kind of play. They get free pizza and a big ice cream sundae bar, so hopefully your 9th graders will come to that social event on the 29th, Thursday the 29th as well. So that's just a little bit about Link Crew. Now, school counseling. So counselor assignments, and I'll quickly talk a little bit about homerooms as well. The homerooms are assigned alphabetically, so we basically take all 450 or so 9th graders, we list them alphabetically, we then take them, the first 22, 23 of them, we put them in a homeroom and kind of keep going down through the alphabet, assigning them to homerooms. That homeroom remains their homeroom all 4 years, and they keep the same homeroom teacher all 4 years. And we introduced them to those homeroom teachers this morning during the Link Crew assembly. And Mr. Locke, who was the MC this morning, told them, hey, you're meeting these homeroom teachers this morning, and those will also be the people who will hand you your diploma out on the field when you graduate in 4 years. So it's kind of a neat, we usher them in, meeting their homeroom teachers, and those homeroom teachers will hand them their diplomas when they graduate as well. So homeroom teachers stay consistent. We take those homerooms and we assign counselors to homerooms, and those counselors stay consistent with them throughout their 4 years as well. And the third person that stays consistent with them is their unit principal. So homeroom teachers, counselors, unit principals stay consistent in their lives throughout their 4 years of high school. So that's how their counselors are assigned. It's all done alphabetically. If you've had other students come through, it's a pretty good idea that they will have a similar counselor. Sometimes the way the alphabet falls, counselors will change. So it doesn't always stay the same, but we typically keep the same parts of the alphabet as counselors. Our office hours, we are here 7:45 to 3:45, and we are located just around the bend from entrance B9, which is the unit principal's office, and we're just past the nurse's office. We will go and visit all of our 9th grade homerooms during the first week of school, and we'll let the 9th graders know where our office is. Most of the 9th grade homeroom teachers will take them around the building and kind of show them where. We have a lot of them will stop in and say hello to us as the ninth grader teachers are taking them around the building. And the link leaders also took them on a tour this morning and showed them where our offices were as well. So they get exposed to sort of a tour of the building to see where we are a couple of different ways. And scheduling an appointment. A number of different ways. We do have an open door policy, so they can pretty much come in whenever they're in need. So if they are, happen to be in crisis, something happens and they need to see us, they can come down at any point in time. But if it's, that they just need something changed in their schedule, or they need to, talk to us, eventually maybe about something with college applications or something like that, it is preferable that they schedule an appointment with us. And the easiest way to do that is to shoot us an email. Preferably, we schedule appointments either before school, after school, during a lunch period, or during a study hall, so that they're not missing an academic class period to come and meet with us. But again, if it's necessary, we can do that as well. But email is probably the best way to schedule an appointment. A lot of the students will stop in during homeroom and say, hey, are you available fourth period? And we're like, yep, just stop in fourth period. So sometimes coming in right when they come in the building, stopping in our office just to make sure we're available during their study hall or during the lunch period, that'll work as well. The services that we provide, we pretty much follow the American School Counseling Association guidelines, and they have 3 pillars: academic, career, and personal social. And we hit on those 3 pillars throughout the year, each year. The career piece we focus on primarily in 10th grade with them, but we'll talk about that throughout their 4 years. During the meeting called a 9th grade IGP, or Individualized Guidance Planning meeting, we'll hit on all of those pillars. You'll get an invitation, 9th grade parents, you'll get an invitation to that meeting in September, and those meetings start in October. We do those twice during their 4 years. In 9th grade, we really focus on sort of a 4-year plan. We talk about the credits that are required. We talk about what their interests are, maybe make some recommendations of courses that they take throughout their 4 years based on interests that they might have. And then the second IGP meeting is in 11th grade in the spring. And at that point, we really start talking about post-secondary planning, what their goals are for after high school, and how we can make sure that they're on track to meet those goals. And then student schedule. So this is just a sample student schedule. Again, each student schedule is going to look a little bit different. Again, they got their schedules a few weeks ago. Some of them have already been in to meet with us to make changes to their schedule. And we do have a 2-week add drop period the first 2 weeks of school. But again, at this point, any schedule change is based on seat availability. So they can't just come in and say, I made a mistake when I picked Art 1. I'd rather take Applied Engineering. We might be able to make that change, but it is at this point based on seat availability. During the first 2 days of school, there will be a QR code in all the homerooms. They can scan that QR code with their phone. That will come directly to us to know that they would like to make an appointment to meet with us. And then we will be calling those students down who sign in to see us for a schedule change, and we will do our best to accommodate the change that they would like to make. Typical 9th grade schedule. English, math, and science are full year courses that last both semesters. Social studies, there are 2 semester-long classes: American Political and Economic Systems, History of Western Culture. They're each a semester. And then the other class periods are filled in with elective classes. Some of those are full year, like world language. The others might be just semester classes, as I mentioned, Art 1 and Art 2, and applied engineering, graphic design, different things like that. So again, each individual student's schedule is going to look a little bit different, but this is a good sampling of what a schedule may look like. And then the last thing I want to talk about is something that changed just this year. Students, as they enter the high school, start building what we call a transcript, right? I think we should all be familiar with the term transcript, and that's another thing that we mention when we meet with them in homeroom to introduce ourselves, and also during the 9th grade IGP meeting. Everything that they start doing from the moment they walk into the school on Tuesday counts, right? It all matters, and it's all going to start building part of their permanent record or their transcript. Part of that transcript is what we call a QPA, what a lot of us might think of or refer to as a GPA, a grade point average. We refer to it as a QPA, a quality point average. And there has been a tiny change to that QPA. The weighted QPA, as you can see here, changed a little bit. In the past, for the classes, the earlier classes, students in the sophomore, junior, and senior classes, if they took an honors or an AP class and they earned a C, they did not earn an extra weighted value, right? So if they earned a C, it was a 2.0. For the incoming freshman class, that did change. So if they take an honors or an AP class and they earn a C, in an honors class, that is now worth the value of 3.0, and in an AP class now, that is now worth the value of a 3.5. That is only for the incoming freshman class. So it's something to keep in mind. We hope that it encourages students to challenge themselves and understand that those honors and AP classes are rigorous, and that earning a C, in a challenging class like that does deserve an extra point value. And that being said, we always use the term, I think that you'll hear again and again in the counseling office, balance, right? Honors and AP classes are not required. It's not something that every student in the high school will take. It's something that you need to consider along with everything else that you have going on, that your students have going on in their lives, and whether it's the right decision to take an honors or an AP class given everything else they have going on. That's it for me, and I would like to introduce from our health services office, our school nurse, Mrs. Magoo.
All right, hello everybody and welcome. I'm going to cover a lot of information in a very short amount of time, so if you have any questions after the presentation, please feel free to call or email me, and my direct line without going through the phone tree is up on the slide, as well as my email. If you have trouble with my name, most people do, hey you, McGee, it rhymes, McGee. The nurse's office is currently staffed by myself and Mrs. Muehlbauer, your school nurses, and Mrs. Roche, our support nurse. Basic first aid is available in the nurse's office for any illnesses or injury that occur during school day hours. Parents are notified of illnesses and injuries as the case warrants. By law, we are not permitted to diagnose or prescribe treatment, but we will certainly notify you if we think a call or trip to your pediatrician is warranted. All sick kids leaving through the nurse's office will be leaving through the B9 entrance. If you recall the earlier slide, that was on the left-hand side. You walk down the steps by the Fine Arts Theater into the unit principal's office. So all sick kids will be leaving through the B9 entrance. You do not need to physically come into the building to pick your child up. You can stay in your car and wait for them, and that's fine. All sports physicals should be submitted directly to the athletic department. All other physicals, including physicals for new students and the physicals that are required by the state and 11th graders, submitted to the nurse. We do not need the original. Emailing to us is a fantastic option because you get to keep the original for your own records in case you would need it later for, say, a work permit or a sports camp. And it also prevents the forms from being forever lost in the bottom of a backpack or a locker. The district follows the requirements set forth by the Allegheny County Health Department for immunizations. Incoming freshmen from within the district, from Mellon and Jefferson, are okay and don't require anything further unless you have specifically heard from me, and I have reached out to a couple of those parents. All new students coming in from outside of the district, if any additional vaccines are needed, we have made contact with you. Students that do not meet the vaccine requirements may be excluded from school until the requirements are met. If you haven't already, please submit them as soon as possible. And if you're unsure, don't know where to get them, your pediatrician is booked until mid-September. Please give us a call and we can help you with that. Oh, did I do? Okay. The only requirement left for high school immunizations is the MCV4 meningococcal booster that's given when the students turn 16 and is required for entry into 12th grade. I will remind you of this requirement during their junior year several times. Emergency information. It is very important to keep the emergency contacts and medical information up to date. Keeping the information as accurate and up to date as possible is important because it's shared with the paramedics in the event that 911 would have to be called, as well as notifying you when your child is sick and needs or wants to go home. If you get rid of your landline, if you get a new cell phone, if you get a new work number, please update your contacts. I cannot accept a new number from your student's cell phone for safety reasons. If you're having trouble updating that in PowerSchool and Dashboard, please contact Dana Martin in the principal's office and she can assist you with that. You are allowed to list up to 4 contact people as emergency contacts. Remember to list you mom and dad both if they are to be contacts. Don't just list 2 grandparents and 2 neighbors or friends. So list the parent and guardians as well, up to 2 more after that. Anybody that's listed on the emergency contact has the authority to give verbal permission for your child to leave school and go home. The emergency contacts don't have to be able to physically pick the student up. They can give permission for the student to go home with somebody else or walk home. So if you have if grandma lives across, in Ohio, she can be listed because she can give the authority for the student to walk home. As long as I have the permission of the emergency contact and the student feels up to it, i.e. if their number 1 complaint is, I feel so dizzy, they're not driving home. But if they're feeling up to it and we think that they're okay, they are permitted to walk or drive themselves home from school. So again, when adding the emergency contacts, remember that anybody that you list has the authority to give your child permission to leave school. When students are sick, they have to be dismissed to the nurse's office. If your child is texting you that they don't feel well, please instruct them to come to the nurse and we'll take a look at them and we will give you a call. We will be calling you from our landline and not from the student's cell phone. So we may come up as spam. That happens. This is for safety reasons. Some students in the past have been a little bit creative and the contacts listed in their phone are mom and dad, and we're actually either mom or dad, so this is a safety issue. We have to go by what's listed in PowerSchool. Medications. The district policy for medications is the same at high school as it was K through 8. It is a violation of the district's drug and alcohol policy to self-carry any medication, with the only exceptions being rescue inhalers, epinephrine auto-injectors, and insulin supplies. Students are permitted to carry the inhalers, the EpiPens, and their insulin and supplies if the following 3 requirements are met. Number 1, we need to have a signed order from the physician dated on or after July 1st of the upcoming school year. And the doctor has to write that the student can self-carry and self-administer. We have to have a signed permission form from mom or dad or the guardians saying that you agree with this. And then after we have those 2 forms, we call the student down to make sure that they know how to use their medicine. If they carry an EpiPen and have never used it, we have a trainer and we just review it with them. All forms for medication and parental permission slips are on the district website under health services and then forms. And we do need a different form for each medication, so you can't put Tums and Tylenol on the same form. If your child would need any medication during school, all medications, including prescription and over-the-counter meds, like I mentioned, even Tums, Tylenol, and Advil, per the state, need MD orders signed on or after July 1st, and the orders need to be specific. I've had orders saying Tylenol per package directions, and I am not permitted to accept those. I would have to send it back to you. All medication must be dropped off to the nurse's office and picked up by a parent, guardian, or an adult that you designate. And it must be in its original and sealed packaging with a valid expiration date. Please do not send a little baggie full of ibuprofen with writing your child's name on it, or a bottle that's been already opened, as again, we're not permitted to accept them. We store medications for up to 1,800 students in this building. Our shelves fill up rather quickly, so if you could bring us travel sizes or smaller bottles, it's greatly appreciated. Those jumbo Costco sizes of ibuprofen, we do not have room for them, so I appreciate your help in that. On a brighter note, the students are permitted to carry cough drops. And our PTSA generously donates them for our students, so a special thank you for our PTSA for that. Illness and COVID-19. If your child is ill, have them stay home. All students should be fever-free for 24 hours without medication before coming back to school, and they should be free from diarrhea and vomiting episodes for 24 hours returning to school if it's from an unknown source. I say unknown source. For example, if your child suffers from migraines and they vomit almost every time they have a migraine, well, if they have a migraine Tuesday night and they vomit and they take the rescue medication and they feel well, you do not need to keep them home from school on Wednesday. It's not a contagious disease. They threw up because they have a migraines, or if they have Crohn's disease or any GI issue and there's an intermittent, GI issues, they're feeling better the next day, they can come to school again. It's not like they have the flu that they're going to get other students sick. Per the CDC and Pennsylvania Health Department, COVID is currently being treated similarly to flu and other respiratory viruses. So again, stay home till you feel better, fever-free for 24 hours without meds. It is recommended that you mask for 10 days after symptoms begin. All right, I think we're nearing the end. Oh, I forwarded. Yeah, there we go. All right. Crutches and gym excuses. As a parent, you can write a note to excuse your child from gym for up to 1 week. This is equivalent to 2 gym classes. Any injury keeping a student out of gym for more than 1 week requires a doctor's note. If a doctor takes a student out of gym, they cannot return to gym or dance until the doctor clears them to do so. We will need the MD sign clearance note prior to allowing the student to return to gym or dance. These notes can be signed by a physician, a certified registered nurse practitioner, or physician's assistant. Per law, we cannot accept any gym notes signed by an RN. They're not valid, so please check that before you leave the doctor's office. If you're going to an urgent care clinic or the ER and it turns out to be a minor injury, try to get an end date. If they just say no gym until further notice, trying to track down a doctor in the ER or an urgent care clinic is next to impossible. So just very quickly, if they sprain their ankle, they take them in, it turns out to be minor, they say stay off of it for 2 weeks, and if you're good, have a great life, carry on. Have them write a gym note for 2 weeks. Be safe. If it's something more serious, like a possible ACL tear, and they're going to refer them to orthopedics, you don't need an end date because you know you're following up with the doctor again. Because we do need the doctor's note to get them back into gym. We also need MD orders for crutches at school. Do not send your child to school with crutches from a sibling or a friend or a neighbor. If the injury is bad enough that they cannot bear their own weight, it needs to be evaluated by a medical provider. We also need MD orders for an elevator key. Same thing, if it's so bad that they cannot bear their own weight on the steps, they need to be evaluated. If your student is a student athlete, we do accept notes from the athletic trainer. They can take them out of gym and put them back into gym. They can write for a note for the elevator for however long it's needed. If your child sustains a concussion, please send all of the documentation to me. I will notify the counselors, the unit principals, the teachers, and if you tell me that they're an athlete, I will forward that to the athletic department as well. And last but not least, if there are any special circumstances that you think that we should be aware of, please consider sharing them with me as well as their teachers. The more we are aware of, the better we can take care of your child. Thank you for your time and attention, and at this time I'm going to turn this over to our next speakers, Mrs. Slogic and Mrs. Meir.
So good evening. My name is Julianne Slogic. In addition to being the director of the Global Studies program here at the high school, I'm also a teacher, and first and always a teacher. And so I want to welcome all of our students still here in the audience and say how happy and excited your teachers are that you will be arriving next week. We have been working on our seating arrangements and looking at our class lists and preparing for your arrival. So as the director of the Global Studies program, my job is to provide enrichment opportunity for our students. The Global Studies program, along with the STEM Academy, are both certificate programs. Students who complete the certificate requirements will receive notification on their transcript, and they will have met certain criteria that at future meetings we will talk with your students about. However, I want to point out that the Global Studies program reaches out to many students in the building, including those who are not officially part of the Global Studies program, and many students who are members of the program, but perhaps not in pursuit of the certificate. So we try to make the Global Studies program, and the Global Studies program is accessible to as many students as that are interested in the offerings that we have. Our offerings are both academic as well as extracurricular, and we are interested in providing field trips and internal school experiences, guest speakers, career opportunities, summer programs. The list goes on and on. This summer I had the pleasure of speaking with graduates who are Global Studies graduates who are working in the film industry. They are working in global public policy, health public policy. They are working in translation services, some in the corporate world, others for NGOs. They are doing humanitarian work with certain focuses. One in particular is working on women's issues globally, and they're also working in business. So students, I know that you come in here as ninth graders, maybe not sure what your superpower is, but I can assure you, even if it's not Global Studies where you will discover your superpower, all of those students, those students I just named, they found their inspiration, they found mentorship here at the high school. And I am excited to be able to go on this journey with you. If Global Studies is something that you think you may be interested in right now, at this moment, you think you may be interested, you can email me. My email is provided there. And then if you're waiting, there will be announcements and opportunities to come to meetings in the weeks ahead, and that offer is always extended into your sophomore and junior year as well. So if you hear about it down the road and you'd like to see me, I'm available then as well. Thank you very much. I'd like to turn it over now to Mrs. Meir, who is the director of our STEM Academy.
Thank you. So the STEM Academy is a program that's unique to Mount Lebanon High School, and we developed it because there's such a need for students today to learn about all the different careers within the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. So before I go into that, I'm just thinking of what you introduced and said you're a teacher as well. I do teach here at the high school. I teach mainly seniors organic chemistry, but I have a freshman homeroom this year. So I'm excited to meet your children if they're in my freshman homeroom as well. But the STEM Academy is great because kids come in and sometimes they say, I think I want to be an engineer. And you might say, what kind of engineer? Well, how many kinds of engineers are there? So what we do is we've developed a program to allow the kids to hear speakers about different careers. I might have a speaker talking about being a mechanical engineer. I might have a speaker talking about being a genetic counselor. Someone else might come in and be a statistician. We offer these speakers during lunch. We offer these speakers after school. In addition to these speakers, we have field trips that we take the kids on. Any kid that is interested in doing STEM Academy field trips is welcome to join us. We might be taking a field trip to Aurora, which was taking over Uber. We might have a field trip to the medical laboratories at UPMC to learn about what it is to be a medical laboratory technician. We might be taking a field trip to the Pittsburgh Glass Center to learn about what it is that scientists do with glass and things like that. So there's so many opportunities. Besides just speakers and field trips, there are different levels to the STEM Academy. So if your kid is interested in any STEM topics, you definitely want to encourage them to go that way. Every science classroom, which all kids in the school as a freshman will take science, has a decal with a QR code in it. They can scan that QR code and they can join the Schoology course for STEM, which will get them direct invites to the field trips and the speakers and such. Another way to get invited to do things is by emailing stem@mtlsd.net. The student should include their name and graduation year. Now, one more thing I do want to tell you about is that there are different levels, and so even though all students are invited to participate in the STEM Academy, like Global Studies, we do have the opportunity for a certificate that goes on the transcript. That is something that students typically don't start until the end of their sophomore year, but they have to take certain coursework, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years. If your student is really, truly interested in STEM, besides just dabbling in the field trips or the speakers, please ask your student to talk to their counselor about the STEM Academy certificate, and that's something that they can explain to them in greater detail. But that's something that won't be applying to them probably until the end of their sophomore year. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Tonkovich, who is the Activities Director. Come on up. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I like to walk around a little bit when I talk, so, and you all sat like awkwardly far away, so, and I like awkward moments, so I'm okay with this. Yeah, I'm Mrs. Tonkovich, and I'm our Student Activities Director here at the high school. That also means I run a space called the Activities Office, which is, when you're coming out of the auditorium, you'll see it across center court. It's the big open area. There's a bubble hockey table and a foosball table, and you'll kind of see those things. It's got banners hanging down from it. So it's a big wide open space. And it's meant for students to be able to come and go for anything that they need that's not necessarily academic or counseling or athletic related. So I don't give grades, and I don't deal with attendance or credits, so that makes my office a pretty fun place to be for students. First and foremost, how I see my role here is really helping students find their place here, because especially for 9th graders and new students, we want them to be connected to their experience. And what I mean by that is not just kind of going through the motions of getting through the day, okay, I went to all of my classes, but really seeing this school as the place where they belong, where they can find people who share their interests and teachers who really care about the same things they really care about. One of the ways we do that is by offering a lot of clubs. Students can either start a club or join one, and right now we have about 70 to 80 on the list. Many of them will continue for many years to come, and some may fade out. I don't know if Weezer Fan Club's gonna make it this year, y'all. But we'll have a whole new list of clubs that come up, because as students have interests, they can either join in with the other kids that share their interests, or if they don't see theirs listed, they can start a club of their own. And all they need to do is come talk to me. I'll show them how to start a club of their own, find a sponsor, and then find a bunch of other kids who share their interest, whatever that may be. I keep waiting for like a Seinfeld club to come about. That seems to be making like a real, okay, I knew it. There was somebody out here. So that's a great way for kids to get involved immediately. We're gonna have a club fair very on in the school year, and I'll send all that information out to the student body. My office is also in charge of dances, and we are the hub for all things dance tickets. New this year, it was new last year, but it'll be new for many of you this year, is that our dance agreements will be on Power School dashboard. And it's going to be really important that you're able to log in because there is a parental part of that. So students will fill out one part of their dance agreement that says, I'm going to show up and be a very responsible school citizen. And then you will fill out a part that says, my child will show up and be a very responsible school citizen. And then, that'll come my way and they can purchase a dance ticket. But you do have to be able to log into dashboard to do that. So please, pay attention when you're learning how to do all that login stuff, or follow the links to be able to email for dashboard support and such. So we also take care of things like spirit assemblies. We will bring back the Lebo Legacy Games this year, which was our all-school bocce tournament to support our unified bocce team and celebrate students of all ability levels in our student body, and really try to have the most inclusive event that we could possibly have. So that'll be back. We'll have some other spirited events throughout the year. I won't say too much about an idea a student proposed to me like an hour ago. So we are also a hub for community service opportunities. When a student wants to join NHS, they can log their hours on Power School, again on dashboard. It'll be under a form on dashboard. And for NHS, it's required 10 service hours per year. So to get those opportunities, we offer a website with tons of opportunities throughout the year. So nonprofit organizations contact me, or the school, different parts of the school will contact me and ask me for student volunteers. I kick that out to the students, they sign up, and then they just log their hours there. It's a really easy way to find those opportunities without kind of scrounging around the neighborhood, trying to figure out what counts or what doesn't. I'll have a lot more information about that, and I'll talk about how you can access that in a moment. And the last thing is we also have a really robust student council. Last year we ended up with around 300 or so members in our student council through our general student council and through our homeroom rep program. And there are lots of ways that even as a 9th grader, you can become a leader in the school, either by signing up to be a homeroom rep in your homerooms, which means that you help distribute information, get kids excited about things going on, participate in activities, help your link crew leaders, things like that. Or they can also run in the student elections coming up here in September. So if they want to be a class officer working with fundraising and planning events for the whole class, that's another great way. That's one of the awesome things I really love about our 9th grade year is that there are ways to jump in so many avenues to do it right away when you get to school. And there's a lot of mentorship in all of those levels too. So in the clubs and in student council, there are a lot of opportunities to work with other kids who are doing some great things and setting an awesome example. So I just highly encourage, to encourage your kids to find a niche here because it's going to be a very enriching experience. And if they have any trouble finding one, send them our way. Mrs. Gray is the assistant in the AO, and we will help them find the place and their people. For more information, because this is so much more, and at some point your kid is definitely going to come home, okay, because this is what happens. Your kid comes home and says, I saw on Instagram that homecoming is in December in the middle of holiday break, and we're all supposed to wear blue, but we have to wear red face paint. And then you're going to be like, wait, what? And you will know that that is completely incorrect. But if you, if you email me, if you give my office a call, we are happy to answer any questions with the correct information. It happens all the time. We're a busy office, but you're never bothering us if you call or email. I try to set aside time every day to answer at least parent emails that come in, because I know it can be kind of frustrating being on the outside of this building. But we are always delighted to hear from you, and your kid can come directly to the office anytime as well, that they have a break to ask questions, and we are always happy to be interrupted by interactions with you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We do keep an Instagram with different activities rolling. All of the classes also keep an Instagram for their specific class level events. And then new this year is that every student has been placed in a student activities Schoology group. So information on community service, on dances, on just about anything that comes through for student activities will be listed, including calendars and sign-ups and all of it. Will be on a Schoology group in one place, so where they're checking their homework is also where they're checking for student life things. Parents, you should be able to view any of your kids' groups. You can't interact on there because you won't be able to comment and like and stuff like that, but you'll be able to view all of the resources and see what's going on. So you'll get updates. You'll be able to say, no, homecoming is on October 19th, and the theme is, well, it's to be determined, but it's not paint yourself blue. So, it's a central place, and it's going to be really important that you're also able to log into Schoology to see that kind of stuff. And then dances, there are a lot of ways you can be active with my office as well. So I know our PTSA president is going to speak tonight, but there are a lot of parent volunteering opportunities as well. And if your child is not too embarrassed to have you in any certain space, we always invite parent chaperones to our dances and to other events throughout the year, which the PTSA will make available. So yeah, but don't hesitate to reach out. We're really glad you're here.
We have 3 community partners with us this evening. We have our PTSA president, we have representatives from Outreach Teen and Family Services, and we, of course, have Corporal Carrigacy from the Mount Lebanon Police Department. So I'd like to begin by just telling you a little bit about our PTSA president, Ms. Jean Thomas. She has an impressive background. She has a BS in Business Administration and an MBA in Human Resources and Organizational Behavior. She has lived in Mount Lebanon for 19 years. She has a 2024 graduate, so she has someone who just graduated last year. And she has 3 students in the district, an 11th grader, a 9th grader, and a 5th grader. So please join me in welcoming a PTSA president who has been involved in a number of roles in the community, and we are happy that she could be with us this evening. Ms. Thomas?
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. The first different thing you guys might have noticed is there's an extra letter this year now that you're up in high school. There's an S. That S is for students because now students can also become members of the PTSA. And by becoming a member, The student is actually eligible to hold offices, just like adults have been in the middle and the elementary school worlds of PTS or PTA. Also, very similar to the PTAs that you may have been involved with or just heard about from middle school and elementary school, we do help support various aspects of your child's day and help support staff as they help to enrich the curriculum for your children and during this time they spend in the school building. We do that in several ways. You might be familiar with the Reflections Arts and Education program. Children have been able to participate in that from kindergarten all the way up through senior year in high school, so that's something that does continue for the students. Also similar to the middle school and elementary schools, we do also provide a student and parent directory that comes along with PTA memberships. We provide class breakfasts. This is a little bit different than things that your children would have experienced in the middle and the elementary school. In the springtime, we hold and parents staff and it's traditionally been a pancake breakfast in the cafeteria in the springtime. It's a very fun event. It's different than the traditional pancakes that comes out of this food services department. There's, I guess, extra special toppings from what I understand that are included with the pancakes. And then the parents are back there volunteering to help prepare everything and get it out to the students. Similar to middle school and elementary school, we also have a weekly newsletter. We also maintain a wish list of items that we help our staff with. And traditionally, these items are things that will help enrich your students' experience within the classroom. As the nurse mentioned, we do contribute and we provide water and snacks and cough drops to the nurse's office. But with regard to the wish list, we have in the recent past donated things to the library, such as non-screen activities, such as board games and coloring books that the kids can utilize while they're in the library for study halls. We have also recently supplied our applied engineering teacher with some money so that he was able to convert and retrofit obsolete 3D printers. It's a little bit above my technology knowledge, but from what I understand, it was able to end up saving the district a little bit of money because it was proprietary filament that was used in these old printers that weren't functioning, and they were able to retrofit them with just a couple $100 worth of supplies and some great technology know-how, and now they're able to utilize generic filament. And the kids can use now multiple 3D printers in applied engineering. We were also able to recently make a grant for a online subscription to one of our language teachers so that they can provide language videos to supplement coursework in the classroom. And this is unfortunately, a subscription that had previously been included in the district budget, but because the budget cuts could not be funded this year through the district, so the PTSA is able to be able to fund that through the memberships and donations. As Ms. Tonkovich had mentioned, we do provide the chaperones for a lot of the school events. We work closely with the activities office, and we will promote the various opportunities via our newsletter and also in the Sunday principal blasts. We also traditionally make a donation to each of the high school classes every year, and that carries with them to use for some of their funding purposes, for some of their own class-specific activities. We also provide through the Angel Fund if there are any financial needs for students. That's something that we work closely with the guidance office, and they communicate anonymously with us as to any specific student financial need, and we try to cover it as well. And if you see in the corner, the QR code is actually a link to our membership website where you can sign up and join for a membership. It's $26. You can pay online or via a check, or if you prefer to make a straight donation, you can also do that within the website portal. It's membership toolkit. If you were a member of a previous PTA unit within the district, the interface should look somewhat familiar. Your username will still be the same as you had used if a middle school and elementary school membership you had purchased in the past. One of the largest differences, other than the fact that we have students as members, is we do not fundraise. We do not hold spirit wear sales. We do not hold readathons. We are not going to man a table and sell bundt cakes to the to the children, because there are plenty of student clubs and sports groups that are doing those things. So we, as a group, we do not want to overburden anybody, and we also want to leave room for those other groups to be able to do their own fundraising. So as a result, because we do not fundraising, the membership money and the donation money that we receive through our membership drives is of the utmost important in being able to meet our goals in making the donations back to the school in terms of the wish lists and classroom gifts and class breakfasts and other things that we do for the children and the staff. Once you sign up for the PTSA membership, you will automatically receive an emailed copy of our newsletter, Lebo Highlights. It comes out approximately every 2 weeks, and will contain information about current and ongoing events, student and staff news, some district and school community news, and it will include links to important documents. And as I mentioned before, this is where you can find the opportunities to volunteer. Regarding the program volunteer clearances, most of the opportunities we have do require all 3 of the clearances that the district requires. You can find the links to those if you go onto the district website. Underneath families, there's a submenu item for volunteers, and the website to link to the Act 34, Act 151, and if you choose to do the FBI fingerprinting, or there's a link to that, or if you want to sign, if you've been a 10-year resident, you can sign the annual affidavit and do it that way as well. And I will turn it back over to Dr. Mitchell.
We are committed to ensuring the well-being of our students, and Outreach Team has continually helped us care for our students. With us this evening is Miss Caitlin Campbell, and I'd like to share a little bit about her background. She is the clinical director of Outreach Team, and she graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with both a bachelor's and a master's degree. She has created self-help programs to support teachers, and she has worked as a family-based therapist. She also, like many of us, happens to be a dog lover. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Miss Campbell.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. It is well past my bedtime, so I'm going to make this quick as we can. Outreach is a nonprofit community-based counseling center, and we're very happy and proud to have just celebrated our 50th year of being in the community. We're located up on Washington Road. We're in the executive building. It's the building across from Rollier's, and our office is directly across from Lazee's, which is an incredible restaurant if you haven't tried it. We offer individual, family, parent, and free parent consultations. So as I'm speaking, or as you're thinking about your child's new transition and you're thinking, I could really use someone to talk through this, you can call me. We talk for an hour for free, and we'll come up with a good plan. What I'd really like to focus on are the groups that we have coming up for this fall semester. We have Project Toward No Drug Abuse. It's a preventative education group for students in the high school who maybe you're having some concerns about their potential to engage in any of those things. We're also doing an Accept Distress group. This is for grades 9 through 12. Being a teenager is hard, and learning how to deal with the things that come up, that's what this group will address. And finally, we have Step Teen, which is a parent workshop. So down-to-earth, practical ways to meet the challenges of raising teens today. Our sessions are, we have some providers who accept insurance. Otherwise, we have an out-of-pocket rate. We have a wonderful contract with the municipality to offer a discounted rate. So first 2 sessions for Mount Lebanon residents are free. Sessions 3 through 10 are $35. Anything over that is $60 per session. If you have any questions, you can find a lot of information on our website at outreachteen.org, or you can email me directly. I actually just changed my last name from getting married, so it's kpry, P-R-Y, at outreachteen.org. We're here for you if you need us. Have a good first year. Thank you.
We are fortunate to have Officer Billick, our SRO, and Corporal Kegeris on our team. In addition to ensuring the safety of our community, the SRO serves as a teacher, a counselor, and most importantly, a positive role model in our building. Many of the events that we host on campus and off campus require the support of the Mount Lebanon Police, and very often you will find that they are more than willing to be supportive, and our students ask them for advice. They ask their opinion, they tell them about what their plans are for the future and want their input on their decisions. So please know that our SRO and the members of the Mount Lebanon Police Department serve multiple roles in our building, and they help us reach students when sometimes they don't want to hear what, an administrator has to say, but they definitely are willing to listen to one of our officers in the building. So please join me in welcoming Corporal Kegeris to the podium, please.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to try to be as brief as I possibly can. I'm Corporal Ty Kegeris. I am the Community Outreach Supervisor at the Mount Lebanon Police Department. So I am not going to be the SRO here for your students when they come here. I did have the privilege of getting to meet your kids last year in 8th grade. Part of my role is to give the education in the middle schools and the elementary schools. So seeing a police officer is definitely not brand new to any of your students, but it will be a new experience here because you'll have a fully uniformed officer here around the clock, yearly assigned here, and that's going to be Officer Jeff Billick. Officer Billick's been with the department for over 20 years. Prior to that, he also has law enforcement experience in Arizona and different areas throughout Pittsburgh. So he's been in law enforcement for about 25 years in total. Just like Dr. Mitchell had said, the school resource officer is here to serve as a resource for your students. They're not here to get your kids in trouble, to punish them for doing things they shouldn't be done. We try to separate school discipline from actually committing crimes and getting involved with different safety issues. The primary role of the SRO here is to serve and provide a safe environment for the students and the staff, pretty much taking care of a small village with about 2,000 people here daily. So it is a big task. Additionally, Officer Billick specialized in DUI enforcement and drug recognition. That's why he's not in town right now. He's currently at training for that drug recognition expert certification that he has. Personally, Officer Billick has 2 high school age students, so he's familiar with how to interact with kids that are going to be your student's age. And also his wife is a teacher in the Upper St. Clair School District as well, so he kind of gets the big picture and understands how things work. Now, I have filled in here as the SRO in the past. For the last 6 years since the inception of the program, Officer Henley was assigned to the school. I think he did a fantastic job of kind of building rapport and getting to know the students, and you'll probably start hearing some of those stories as some of your students get to meet Officer Billick over that period of time. I've seen kids come up and talk about a wide array of personal things that maybe I wouldn't think they'd ever talk to a police officer about, and that's great. We want them to be comfortable seeing them, speaking with them, and knowing that we're here to help them out whenever they need us, okay? His office is located kind of just outside the doors here at D410, right above Center Court, and he's available whenever the students might need him. Just make sure they get clearance and their teachers know that they're going to see the school resource officer about whatever it might be, okay? Additionally, again, thank you for sharing your students with me last year. It was awkward and awesome kind of teaching them about the different things like sexting and dating and healthy relationships. It was not awkward at all for me in any way, shape, or form as I worked my way through that. So again, I welcome all your students to this school district. I talked to them last year before we finished the year about how their world just got a lot bigger coming over here because it is massive in this school compared to where they're at in their middle schools. But they were all fantastic kids, very mature. This school district produces phenomenal human beings. I get to see it every year sitting on the scholarship committee that we have at the police department. So kudos to all of you and kudos to the school district for doing such a great job. You should feel extremely comfortable as parents having your students in this district, in this building with the professionals and with the services provided here in this town. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Corporal. And thank you again to our community partners. Much like our faculty and staff, they welcome opportunities to work with you and to work with our students. To our families and students, Walk Your Schedule will be held on Monday, and that is coming up very soon, Monday, August 19th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Please feel free to tour the building with your student and find the location of their classes. Many of your students have an idea of where they're going in the building thanks to their link leaders this morning. Thank you for sharing part of your evening with us, and we look forward to seeing you again at our open house. Please feel free to give us your thoughts on tonight's program by scanning the QR code that is in tonight's booklet. Have a wonderful evening and drive safely.